Where do I go from here?
Hello there everyone, it's me Nita Rose, and this is my review video of Helluva Boss. If you like future updates, please subscribe to this channel and hit the notification button. Now no further ado, let's get started. Here I'm going to talk about Season 2 finale called Sinsmas. I'll give a summary of the episode and then discuss my thoughts. So the episode starts off with Stolas waking up to a pile of horse plushies, Blitz cooking breakfast, and they start a little conversation, and Stolas decided to call Via. But of course, the bitch of an ex-wife and brother-in-law won't let Via talk to him. And once Stolas starts to panic when Via isn't answering, Blitz calms him down and then takes him out. But it turns out the other imps are not too happy to see him since he's royalty, but it's also nice to see Blitz defend him, and Stolas is still in depression. Later, Blitz takes Stolas to the office and have him answer the phone. Blitz gets a job from a client who wants her cheating husband dead, and it cuts to Via and she starts to sing a song, which is good but not great. Meanwhile, Stolas is stuck at the office with the client who won't shut up, and he ends up going on a rampage and storms out to see Via. Blitz and the others decide not to kill the family and abort the mission. They come back and see Stolas is no longer there, and then Via shows up looking for her dad, and then we see Stolas at the ice palace to see Via. But Andre won't allow it, and Stolas beats the shit out of him until he will stop. Blitz and the others show up, and we get to see a great fight scene. Via takes the final blow into stopping Andre, but she also walks away from Stolas with tears in her eyes as she sees it as betrayal from him, which caused Stolas to break down after losing his only daughter. They went back to Blitz's place as Stolas was still depressed about Via. Blitz tries to cheer him up again with a pep talk and giving him a nice little dance and then a hug, and here is where the episode ends. Boy, there's a lot to say in this episode. First, I want to talk about Blitz and Stolas. I will admit, these two have come a long way since Season 1. Yes, they had their ups and downs, and you don't see Stolas constantly flirting with Blitz or Blitz being an asshole. The two of them grew throughout the series, and it's nice to see these two having a decent conversation and spend more time together, even though Stolas is always looking depressed. But I can't blame the guy since he just lost everything, and the person he cares for, his daughter, won't answer his calls. And also the fact that he might be having withdrawals from his antidepressant pills, and the side effects might be coming in. Because later on we see him freak out, but I think that's more of a realization of his mistakes. Either way, Stolas is breaking down and he needs his daughter, and he'll see her no matter what happens. So he goes back to his old palace, but then Andre comes along and Stolas beats the shit out of him, and I loved it. I never imagined Stolas doing anything like this, and that icy bitch deserves it. But do you know what I believe is more deserving than that ice bastard getting beat up? Stolas kissing Blitz. Man, I can't tell you how many times I watched that scene, and I know a lot of people were waiting forever for this kiss to happen, and it paid off well. But do you know what is also a good payoff? Blitz's character development in this episode. During the mission they took on by the client, he sees a happy family enjoying their time together, and he starts to imagine his own family, including Via. After seeing this, he aborted the mission. I love seeing the growth of this character because from the very first episode, Blitz wouldn't hesitate to kill an innocent looking family, but now he's became a changed man, and this felt too close to home for him. I also love it that Moxie was the one to tell him that it's not worth the money and didn't want to kill this family, because if Blitz hadn't changed for the better, he would have told Moxie to suck it up and do the job. If not, he would do it himself. By the end of the episode, Blitz started to open up to Stolas more often. He even told him about his twin sister and how the two of them used to be so close but grew apart because of Blitz's mistake, and how he misses her dearly. Stolas has also grew on me in this episode, and I know I made a video about his flaws and not liking him that much because how he behaves towards Blitz and his race. But after the episode Mastermind and this one, I could see him discovering things that he's not used to. He starts to realize his own mistakes and reflects on his choices. But he's not ashamed of saving Blitz, but he is ashamed for neglecting his child, and now he lost her. And now, speaking of his child, I like to talk about Octavia in this episode. Personally, I always thought of her as an underrated character, and the fact that she only's been in 3 episodes. But here, she does get more screen time. I know a lot lot of fans are not happy with her leaving Stolas behind after the fight, even though the guy was trying to reach out to her multiple times but Stella wasn't going to let him. But I can see the fans already hating on Via after this episode was released, but I don't think they understand her situation. It shows in the song that she's saying that she's feeling abandoned and betrayed by the only person who truly cared about her. But she also said that she'll be okay without him, going through an emotional turmoil where she sees Blitz as the dark shadow who took her father away from her, but at the same time she knew it was his choice. Now I can tell Via had a rough childhood growing up due to her parents fighting all the time, and her father, who does love her, is more focused on his wants than her needs. What makes things worse is where Via finds Stolas' happy pills, which makes her believe that she's the reason why Stolas is always depressed, and the reason why she decided to leave after giving him back his pills. There are also the fact that she witnessed Stolas almost get executed after exchanging his life for someone else and didn't think about how she felt. I know she doesn't understand the full story, but in her mind, Stolas chose Blitz over her. Octavia still loves her father, but this act of betrayal was too much for her. Therefore, she would rather stay with the mother who pays no attention to her than the father who breaks the promise to her. I know that seems selfish of her to think like that, but Via is a teenager who went through a traumatic experience. It caused more impact on the person you love the most, and if that person betrays you, it will cause serious damage to the bond and trust. I believe that's what happened to Barbie Wire. She loved and trusted her brother, but he ends up betraying her trust and the bond between them has severed, and now she cut ties with him. The reason I brought her up is because Blitz mentioned her to Stolas. I want to believe that's a reference to Stolas and Octavia's broken bond and mistrust, but of course that is just me speculating on the matter. I'm not sure what will happen to Octavia. There are ideas I have in mind, but I'd rather wait and see what the writers of the show will do with her. The next thing I want to talk about is the fight scene, and oh boy, this is a good fight. In fact, it's just as good as the one in Truth Seeker. The rotating angles, the graphics, and how the animation is moving with the kick-ass music, it was just awesome to watch. Then we get to see Luna's transformation, which surprised me as I never seen any foreshadowing of her changing into this form. What I find most shocking is that Blix, Millie, and Moxie were not surprised by this form as if they'd seen her like this before. But what is just as exciting as seeing Luna's transformation when Octavia comes in and finishes the final blow. Now she didn't kill Andre, but she did bring him to his knees to show how powerful her bloodline is compared to him. What's more interesting is the fact this is the first time I've seen Via use her powers, which is strange because of what we learned from Seeing Stars. Stolas never taught her any spells or how to use her powers. So I'm gonna speculate and say that she learned after that episode, which I think happened a few months ago or maybe a year. Honestly, I don't know the timeline of the show, so I'm gonna guess a few months. Either way, it's nice to see Via use her powers. Now the next part I want to talk about is the big shocking subplot, which is that Millie discovered that she's pregnant. And this was already foreshadowed throughout the episodes as fans seem to catch on. Millie calls her sister Sally Mae for comfort as she seemed to be scared or worried. But my question is, why doesn't she tell Moxie about her pregnancy? I mean, he wouldn't be against it since he's such a loving guy and would do anything to support her. But I think maybe because it was unexpected and because of their poor condition, Millie probably thought they couldn't afford to have a baby, and that's why she's upset. Now I have read some fan comments saying that she's going to get an abortion or that she cheated on Moxie and feels guilty about it. And I think that's all nonsense. Because first of all, why would Millie cheat on Moxie? These two are so in love with each other that they are willing to sacrifice anything to save each other. This woman forced open the mouth of a sea monster to save her husband and killed multiple shark thugs for him. So it will make zero sense for Millie to cheat on him and betray his trust. But I think I do understand why people get this idea because of her behavior in this scene. But the way I see it, her behavior is normal and not so rational due to the situation that she's in, and the mood swings could also take effect. But in the end, she told Moxie that she loves him and might tell him eventually about the baby. But season 3 is coming, so we'll see what will happen. And as for the abortion theory, Yeah, I'm not touching that topic. And I'm moving on to the last thing I want to discuss before ending this video, which is the dance scene between Stolas and Blitz. It starts off with them on the balcony having a conversation, and it was a sweet moment. I see the two slowly start to get closer and becoming a couple, because I know in the past season, it seems like these two are not going to make it, but I think the writers did a great job here. Both of them are on equal grounds, and Blitz is starting to open up more. But he also feels guilty and sorry for Stolas. But Stolas doesn't want him to feel that way because he chose to save Blitz, and he knows now that was the right thing to do, even though he lost everything in the process. Blitz doesn't want Stolas to be alone, and here is where he decided to dance with him. I like the fact that Blitz is being creative and using the balcony rails to reach Stolas' height. And I keep thinking to myself, how's this guy not falling off? He might got some good balance. Either way, this was a nice scene to watch, and in the end, Blitz was hugging Stolas. However, he isn't hugging back, but that's okay because that hug from Blitz was just enough. Stolas got what he wanted, which was Blitz's love, but he lost what he needed, which was his daughter Octavia, and this is the start of him healing. He seemed to accept the hug, but still wounded by the loss of his daughter, and it can take him time to get used to his new life with Blitz for the next 100 years. Now, in conclusion, I think this was a great finale. There's a lot of build up to the next season, and interested as to what's to come next. I want to thank you all for watching and would like to hear your thoughts on this episode. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe and hit the notification button, and I'll see y'all next time. Nita Rose out.